Lars had no idea what kind of day was ahead of him when he laced up his hiking boots and parked his car at the edge of a dense forest. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. The plan was simple: a peaceful solo trek, some fresh air, and a break from the noise of everyday life. But deep among the trees, he was about to stumble upon something so bizarre, so utterly out of place, it would shake him to his core. A gleam of sunlight off something metallic caught his eye, something that didn't belong in the natural quiet of the woods. As he stepped closer, the strange object began to take shape, and that's when Lars froze. Sitting silently among the moss and roots was what looked like a rocket. At first, he thought he was seeing things, maybe some bizarre art installation or a rusted-out piece of junk. But the closer he got, the more undeniable it became. This was no sculpture. This was real, industrial-grade aerospace metal. The body was cylindrical and sleek, partially buried beneath fallen leaves and soil. The rear of the object revealed massive nozzles, scorched from what looked like re-entry heat. Lars's pulse quickened. How did a rocket like this end up here? And more importantly, was it safe? Curiosity overpowered caution. He circled the strange object, brushing away debris to inspect the surface. No NASA insignia, no SpaceX logo, no markings at all. It looked like it had fallen out of the sky, yet somehow remained intact. Then he noticed a loose panel on the side, thin like aluminum foil, but strong. It was peeled back slightly, like something had tried to escape or enter. Lars hesitated, then bent down and pulled it open just enough to squeeze inside. The interior was pitch black. As he crawled through the narrow opening, a strange chemical smell hit him, something between scorched plastic and gasoline. Using the flashlight on his phone, Lars illuminated a cramped, smooth-walled chamber. It was eerily quiet, with a faint humming sound deep within the metal structure. The floor was soft, almost spongy, and the deeper he moved in, the more strange buttons and panels he encountered. Suddenly, the rocket jolted. Lars stumbled, smacking his elbow on the curved wall. The vibration intensified. He scrambled back to the opening, yanked the flap open. But outside was no longer the forest. The trees were a blur. The rocket was on the back of a truck, speeding down a highway. Panic surged. He could jump, but the speed was too great. He slammed the flap shut and backed into a corner, trying to stay steady as the vehicle bounced and shook. Minutes dragged into what felt like hours. Then, the truck slowed. Through the hull, Lars heard muffled voices, stern, official-sounding. An iron gate screeched open. The truck rolled again, then finally stopped. Lars held his breath. Silence returned. Then footsteps. People began examining the rocket. He heard them walking inches from where he hid. Holding his breath, Lars curled into the shadows, praying no one would open the panel he'd entered through. Eventually, the voices faded. Carefully, Lars opened the flap again. What he saw left him speechless. The rocket now sat inside a colossal warehouse, larger than any building Lars had ever seen. Aircraft parts, strange vehicles, and huge machines surrounded him. The ceiling soared high above, and bright fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. This wasn't just some storage facility. This was high level, government level. He dropped to the floor and crouched, looking for an escape. Workers in white lab coats and security uniforms moved about, distracted. He slipped out a side door into a smaller room stacked with tools and boxes. Here, he found a desk with folders and maps, technical documents filled with rocket diagrams and notes he couldn't understand. As he flipped through the pages, the door creaked open. 2 men stepped in. One of them gasped. "Hey, who are you?" "Intruder!" the other shouted. Lars bolted. He shoved past them and sprinted back through the warehouse. Alarms rang out. Red lights flashed. Security guards charged after him. He made a run for a door with sunlight spilling through, hoping it led outside. But 2 guards tackled him to the floor before he reached it. They dragged him to a windowless room. No explanation. No questions. Just silence. Then the door opened. A man in a white robe walked in, calm and composed. He sat across from Lars and leaned forward. Start talking. The man across the table didn't seem angry, just curious. Lars took a breath and told him everything, the walk through the forest, the rocket, crawling inside, and how he'd ended up here. The room was silent when he finished. Then the man finally spoke. "What you found," he said calmly, "is part of a highly classified aerospace project. It wasn't supposed to survive re-entry, let alone land intact." Lars's eyes widened. "So it really is a rocket?" The man nodded. "A prototype. Still under testing. What you stumbled upon wasn't meant to be discovered, not by anyone." The guards exchanged glances but stayed quiet. The man leaned back. "You're not in trouble. We believe you had no bad intentions. But you understand. We can't have the public finding out about this. You'll be taken back, but we'll need to blindfold you. Security protocol." Lars nodded quickly. "I won't say a word. I promise." A short while later, Lars sat in the back of a black SUV, blindfolded, heart pounding as the vehicle took him back toward familiar territory. When the blindfold was finally removed, he was right where he started, by his car, at the forest's edge. The rocket was gone. No sign it had ever been there. That night, as Lars sat by his window looking up at the stars, he couldn't help but smile. He had seen something incredible, something no one would ever believe, and though he could never tell the world, he'd carry that secret with him forever. A silent witness to one of the world's strangest hidden stories. Back home, Lars found himself drifting through daily life with a strange sense of detachment. Every ordinary moment, making coffee, watching the news, walking through the same forest path, felt different now, like he was carrying a secret too big for the world around him. No one would believe it if he told them, and even if they did, he had no proof. But that didn't matter. What mattered was that for a brief moment he had stepped beyond the veil of the everyday and glimpsed something extraordinary. Over time, the memory didn't fade. It sharpened. Every time a rocket launch appeared on the news or a government project made headlines, Lars paid closer attention. He never saw anything that directly tied to what he had seen that day, but small details, the shape of a spacecraft, a mention of a secretive facility, would stir that feeling in his gut. He remained silent, just as he had promised. But deep down, Lars knew he had been part of something far greater than he could fully understand. And that knowledge in itself changed everything.